Hello, all. Welcome on into your tarot spread for the week ahead. This is for the week of February 16th, 2026. This week, I'm going to be using the White Sage Tarot by Teresa Hutch. And I really love this deck. This is a deck I turn to when I'm looking for a softer, calmer, kinder, gentler energy. And I appreciate it so much for that. There are no humans in the deck, which I also kind of like. And most of the figures that would otherwise be humans are animals in this deck, which I love. There are also some connections to the chakra system of energy centers in the body. And I'm kind of a fan, a proponent, a believer in the chakra systems of the body, if you will. Oh, and there we go already. We've got some. Making sure we're lining up as I do. And there we go. Case in point, here we go. Our Queen of Cups is an otter. Ooh, our Knight of Pentacles is an elephant. Do kind of like how easily the the cards are jumping out here for me. Now, I usually read jumpers if it's one or two cards that jump out. If it's like six cards, I'm like, yeah, that's just bad shuffling. And admittedly, I am not the best shuffler. I hope everyone is doing well this week. I hope everyone had a great weekend, or at least a weekend that did not further exacerbate frustrations in your life, or issues in your life. I'm still well aware that this is a rough time for a lot of us, for a lot of people, for both personal reasons, for political reasons, shall we say. I realize that this can be a rough time for a lot of us. So I really do hope, do hope things are going as well for you as they possibly can. And at the end of the day, I really do believe most of us, possibly all of us, really are just trying our best. We really are just trying to do what's best for ourselves and for others. Okay, we've got the makings of a great reading so far. It's kind of rainy out today, kind of dark, a little gloomy in the house, but I don't mind that. Sometimes I like a rainy day because it means that I get to stay home. It's kind of nice to have the thought of, I really don't need to go out there right now. All right. And I always, again, I see some repeats of some cards that have come up in the past week for us, or past weeks, and I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed at how the same cards will show up. This is a completely different deck. I'm shuffling live. Here I am shuffling live, and we still are getting some of the same cards that we get. Yeah, still getting some of the same cards that we get in other weeks, in other times. So make of that what you will. I think for the first time since I've been doing this, and we're coming up almost a year. I think it's about 11 months actually that I've been doing these weekly videos. For the first time, I think we have two cards as our cards of the week. And we have Three of Cups, which came to us last week, I believe. Or the week before, I think the week before. And we have the Queen of Cups reversed. And I love the animals for the suit of cups in this deck are otters, which I love. I love this little queen. Look at her. Just out there with her crown and her cup of tea, hanging out, saying hi, enjoying life. May we all have that. So I love that we have a cups week. Cups are the suit of water. So they are our emotions. They can be our imagination, our intuition, the things we feel. Think of it as our heart. That is very much our our suit of cups. Three of Cups is a card about meaningful connections, about maybe almost a celebratory energy, a very joyful energy of connection. And I usually see it or feel it as more of a friendship energy or a non-romantic energy, but this could be anything. This could be just a lunch with your sister. It could be a romantic connection, but it really more is less focus on the romance and quote unquote matters of the heart, and more on that genuine meeting someone as an individual, feeling boosted by the interaction, feeling better off for having had the interaction than you were before it happened. And that really is the spirit here of our Three of Cups for the week. So try to find those connections. And to be fair, maybe it's just that you connect with the server at your local diner over the shoes she's wearing or something like that. It doesn't have to be a big connection, but find ways to connect with people this week in ways that in ways that are meaningful and uplifting. For Queen of Cups reversed, I think maybe maybe the lesson here is, and I'm going to be honest, this came up and I thought, where are we going with this? But I think honestly, don't second guess these connections. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Maybe, I mean this in all seriousness with loving compassion. Maybe you're a person who suffers from anxiety in social situations. Maybe you're a person who has a fear around social situations or connections, or it brings up emotions to think about connecting with people. Maybe you're at a point where you don't really feel a lot of joy in your life. Maybe you don't feel a lot of support in your life, or feel that you are supported in your life. And I think our Queen of Cups reversed invites you to examine whether that or not that's true. To really sit and maybe get out of your heart and get into your head a little bit more. Really take some time to analyze whether what you're feeling is true and real. And then to go out and seek those connections, to take note of the connections you have in your life, to take note of where they pop up. For Monday, which is today, hey, we've got the Knight of Pentacles, and I love that elephants are animals for the Pentacles because elephants are so wise and grounded and steady and solid. And again, our Knight of Pentacles, they came up last week, and here they are again. What we're doing is we're moving forward. Slow and steady wins the race. Keeping our eyes on the prize, but knowing we're not going to get there that quickly. Knowing that we have the preparation, the work, the base to get going, and we are going. We're just, it's an elephant, not a cheetah. It's an elephant, not a cheetah. He's a little little slower moving, but he's going to get there. And he's going to get there because he took the time, the preparation. He's got everything he needs. He's cradling this resource, this pentacle, which is a sand dollar. I love this deck. He's cradling that sand dollar, that resource so preciously. He's definitely not going to drop it. And moving forward, keep, again, knowing it's not going to happen quickly for us, but we are able to move forward. For Tuesday, we have the Seven of Cups, which is really about making choices, really examining what we have. And I think along with our Queen of, this is a good time to get out of our hearts, to really look rationally and clearly at the choices we have. Don't let our emotions get in the way of that. And really think things through, really think the possibilities through, pros and cons list if you're into that. And just know not all of these choices are going to be for you. Which of these choices might help this journey speed up just a little bit? Which of these choices might give you the tools you need to continue on this journey? Which of these choices might help you make those real, true, celebratory, joyful connections? Those are all things to think about on Tuesday with our Seven of Cups. On Wednesday, we have the Emperor. Oh, he is the walrus, everyone. Cuckoo, cuckoo. So we have our Emperor on Wednesday, and the Emperor is really about I feel like for Wednesday for us, it's about looking at guidelines, structures, rules, government, if you want to go there, and how that sort of structure, those rules, those laws present in our lives. And again, it's a good time to see where are we acting emotionally, where are we acting or reacting emotionally, and where could we maybe dial it back and use the structures and systems we have in place to control that a little bit? Where could we channel some of maybe this emotion into these structures to help us move forward in a way that is focused, in a way that sort of channels. I feel like the Knight of Pentacles and the Emperor are working very well together here to give us that groundedness, to give us that solid sort of foundation to move with. And again, rules and structures and systems we have in place in our lives, those are not necessarily a bad thing. Those can be very good for you to help navigate. And certainly there are times where we want to challenge the rules, where we want to challenge systems, where we might want to challenge governmental policies. But for us personally this week, really, I think with our Queen of Cups reversed energy, what we want to do is we want to lean into those personal systems that give us, again, that solid foundation, that base, that help us make these choices, that help us lean into what's right for us, and that help us focus our energy forward, even though we're going a little slow. For Thursday, we have Six of Swords. And Six of Swords is a card where this week I just want us all to know that we are taken care of. There are people that will hold us. There are people that will help us on our journey forward. You don't have to do it alone. You really don't. You don't have to do it alone. Lean into these connections that exist. Three of Cups tells us that those connections exist in our lives, even if we have to look a little bit to find them. But they do exist, and that support is going to protect you. I love that the swords are all facing away from the ribbon here, implying that we're protected. This delicate ribbon, this beautiful, precious ribbon is being protected by these swords. It's surrounded and protected by it. So you are protected. You are surrounded by love. You are surrounded by support, and you are going to get there. You don't have to be alone. You are going to get to the other side of whatever this is. And that's our message there for Six of Swords for Thursday. For Friday, we have Three of Swords. Interesting to me that we do start out with a little bit of emotion here with our cups, and then we move into the swords for a bit here. The swords are the suit of air. And air is connected to our mental processes, if you will, our intelligence. It's our head. Where the cups are the heart, the swords are the head. So it's our thinking, our rationalization, our ability to analyze, our ability to be critical, not in a nasty way, but an ability to be like, oh, well, let me look at this and see, what is my opinion on this? It's that sort of energy. It can also be things like our anxiety, things like it's nightmares, trouble sleeping, insomnia. So there is a little bit of that here in the sword suit in general. But for Three of Swords, I would say for me, what comes to me is use all of this steadiness, use the security that you have in these connections, this steady, grounded journey, knowing that you have choices and options, knowing that you have structures and systems in place, knowing that you're supported. Use all of that to heal. Three of Swords can be a card of heartbreak. It can be a card of emotional wounds. It can be a card of past trauma or past experiences that have really affected us. And so Friday, let's take a moment to notice what comes up around that. Let's take a moment to sit with that. Let's take a moment to process it. It's okay to reach out if you feel you need support in the processing. It is okay to reach out to a friend, a family member. If you need deeper support, it is totally okay to reach out to a therapist or mental health professional if that feels right to you. But just know that having that support in place, having those connections in place, is probably going to really help you on Friday with this card. And I say Friday, as I've said before with this, everything is in flux. I definitely do not read the cards as a solid, this is going to happen on Monday. But it is more like, this is probably what we're dealing with overall for the week. These are probably cards we're going to be dealing with, energies we're dealing with earlier in the week. These are probably energies we're going to be dealing with later in the week. But, obviously everything is always in flux. Your Six of Swords day might happen today. It might happen tomorrow. It just, these are general guidelines of energies we're dealing with. For Saturday, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which 2026 is a Wheel of Fortune year. I know Wheel of Fortune came up maybe a week or two ago. And this is really just knowing, again, I mean, kind of like what I just said, that things are always turning, things are always spinning, things are always moving. Life is always in flux for us. Life is always moving and changing, and good things will come to us. Bad things might come to us, or less comfortable things might come to us. But just know that, again, the adage, the cliche, the idiom, whatever it is, what goes around comes around. It's if you're going through a lower spot on the wheel right now, just keep going. Just keep going. It's going to spin. It's always spinning. It's always spinning. It's all temporary. It's all temporary. But I think the more we do lean into the good that comes our way, the more we lean into the gratitude that comes our way, the more we lean into the blessings of our life with our connections, the choices we have, the journey we're on, the more we lean into that good, the more the wheel tends to spin in our favor. So that is our Wheel of Fortune for Saturday. And I think, the message also for Saturday, sorry, interrupting myself. I think the message for Saturday also is just know that there are things you can't control in life. There really are. They're just things. Things are spinning whether you like it or not sometimes. And even if it's good, sometimes we have a problem if we can't control it, right? So just know that you might have a little bit of those feelings pop up on Saturday. And on Sunday, we are finishing with Knight of Cups reversed. We have another little otter, little baby otter with again, mug of coffee maybe, or cocoa. Love the lightning bolt on the helmet. But it's reversed. He's a reversed otter. He's a reversed Knight of Cups. So much like our Queen of Cups. I'm going to say the message here is not to confuse fantasy with reality in terms of connections, and specifically romantic connections. Are there points where you're maybe brushing real things aside because you're in love with being in love? Maybe there's a point where you're maybe ignoring some issues or things that you should bring up and communicate to your partner, but you're avoiding it because you're in love with love. And so this is just to be aware of that, be aware of where you might be wearing your rose-colored glasses. maybe take them off for a bit, maybe put them on your forehead for a bit, or put them on top of your head for a bit, use them as a headband, keep that hair back, and look at things in a more realistic way. Look at things from a more stable, grounded way. Because it's easy. We all love to be in love, in a variety of ways, but also it's important to stay grounded in realism. It's important to not let your expectations of what you want get in the way of what actually is happening. And I really do feel like this is referring to a romantic relationship. So if you're not in a romantic relationship, that's fine. Just note maybe patterns of past relationships. Or to be fair, maybe you do realize it applies to a friendship or a family relationship, and that's okay too. There are no hard and fast rules here. And that is our reading for this week. I am doing a tarot event on February 28th, Friday, February 28th, and I will leave a link in the comments on this video. And I hope everyone has an amazing week. I'll see you next Monday.